Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. If you're watching this live or watching the replay, we're really excited to have you. My name is Eli Cohen, and I'm the CEO of SalesHood. Today is all about generative AI for sales. And we've got two amazing practitioners here who've rolled up their sleeves, real life use cases, real life Gen AI applications to improve sales productivity. They got some great stories to tell. And we are going to make this be interactive. Generative AI, this is like major hype. And what we're doing today is real, which is what I'm so excited about. Just give everyone a flow. We're going to do intros and we're going to, then dig into each of their amazing stories. And, Alyssa at ReliaQuest has some great, conversation ready, some great speed to feedback stories. It's just incredible what ReliaQuest is doing. And then we're going to take a little break and we're going to dig in and do a little demo. We're going to show you AI Coach, generative AI in action. I'm going to do a real pitch in real time. I love it. And then we're going to hear from Matt, and he's going to go through and share his story. And that's the flow. Alyssa and Matt, what do you think?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I love it. Perfect. And again, thanks for everyone from around the world for joining in. I love getting enablement leaders together and sharing best practices. And so this is why we decided to do this one. So let's meet these two amazing folks. And so we'll start with Alyssa. Alyssa, newer to enablement, came to us from the customer success. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and ReliaQuest?
Sure. So I came to ReliaQuest almost 3 years ago. Previously, I worked in technical project management, mostly focused on automation back at PwC. And then when I came over to ReliaQuest, I came on as a customer success manager. So really working with our enterprise customers to ensure that we're making security possible for their organizations. ReliaQuest and what we do for those that aren't familiar is ReliaQuest Gray Matter is delivered as a cloud native security platform, and it's delivered as a service any time of day, anywhere in the world. Essentially what that means is our customers receive visibility across their entire enterprise ecosystem, unifying detection, investigation, and response. That enables them to manage risk, increase visibility, and reduce the complexity of their environments.
Wow, sounds like a complex thing to have to explain.
I know it takes a couple times, but it's so funny with our new hires. I hear them doing the same things, and they're like, okay, cloud native, and they're checking all the boxes. But once you get it, you get it.
I know John, your CRO, and he would be proud of the way you just explained the pitch and the value and the impact. So kudos. And it's what a great transition in terms of where you are. And you have such a great story to tell. I'm really excited for folks to hear it. And I'm gonna have Matt introduce himself. Matt's been in enablement longer. He's got years and years of experience. And for those of you that don't know Matt, he's got a TEDx talk, which is an absolutely it's a great talk. We'll put the link in the chat, and it's super interesting. Want you to introduce yourself, but I listened to your TED talk, and it's very, very relevant to what we're going to talk about right now, right? You talk about a musical sandbox, you talk about data and music, and really, I don't want to take words out of your mouth, but like we've created like an AI sandbox for sales enablers, and you really got me thinking about. And by the way, you play a great guitar, so kudos to you. And so listen, Matt, please, I know you're humble and you've got a great story to tell. Please share a little bit about your background for us.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I did not know you were going to drop the TED Talk thing on me, so that's funny. Yeah, I did it a few years ago. It's a little dated, but it holds up surprisingly well. I tried to connect data and music together. I play guitar, I sing, and I've been in the data space for like 20 years, right? I've 5 years in sales enablement, 8 years as a sales engineer, solution architect at SaaS and IBM. I work for Alation. You can see behind me is my team. I lead a team of associate sales engineers and some of our other friends in the sales engineering team. We basically were the Netflix for your data is a quick and easy way to do it. If you're, Netflix or Amazon, where you're searching for like a new grill or a new pair of shoes, and you can see all the reviews of it, and you can see how many stars it has. And you can see, oh, if you like this one, you might like these other data sets. So it basically takes that analogy of Netflix and Amazon to making it really easy to find data and trust it and understand it. And it's basically, we're in the data catalog and data intelligence space. We lead that space. And so that's kind of that's what we do. And so it's the enablement challenges. Obviously, it's a big one. We're a late stage startup. And you got to ramp people up quick and get them into the, talking about the stories. And, we've been using SalesHood since I've been here. I've been here 2 years now at Alation, and I think it's been amazing. So great to be
Kudos to
here.
both of you. And we do thank both of you for being SalesHood customers and being in our community. And you're both here for a reason. You're both here because you've both leaned in to generative AI. And so we chose you out of our whole community to come in and share your stories. And so, Alyssa, before we dig into the details of the story, like if you were to summarize, the benefit either that you or the business or your teams have realized from Gen AI, how would you describe the benefit?
I'll actually tell you a story that I was planning on, maybe bringing up something different, but I was actually, one of our directors is at our customer conference this week, and he pulled me aside and he's like, Alyssa, I'm noticing such a faster ramp time with the sellers on my team. And that to me is like, pat on the back. Like, that's just so great to hear for us, because now that they have a faster ramp time, getting them selling faster, getting them from in the door. Like I just gave that pitch on ReliaQuest. That doesn't happen day one. So getting our, sellers from the point to day one, understanding ReliaQuest, understanding cybersecurity, to the point where they're able to, sell it, and being able to close that time to first sale has been a huge realization for us.
Tell us, what are some of the ways that you're using generative AI to drive improvements in sales productivity at ReliaQuest? We'd love to hear your story.
Sure. So, when we think about speed to feedback, AI is the perfect place to have that, realizing that feedback immediately. And the way that we're doing that today is mainly through one program that we have called our Audible Ready program. So Audible Ready really just means what it says. So we're making our sellers Audible Ready to sell their products and the offerings that we have within ReliaQuest. And the way that we're able to do that is, we create these huddles within SalesHood. Now, within each huddle, I'll use Gray Matter Phishing Analyzer, for example, because it's an offering we have. So the huddle may be called Positioning Gray Matter Phishing Analyzer, and our sellers are assigned the huddle. We release them every other week. They're assigned that huddle, and then within the huddle, they're given different modules. And we've created consistency with these so they have a good understanding of what to expect, and it's very easy to navigate. So it starts with an introduction. It might be myself, Stephanie McCabe on my team, or another member of our revenue enablement team that will come on their computer screen and say, hey, this is what you're about to learn about. Here's a lay of the land for what the huddle is going to look like.
Yeah.
Next up, they'll hear gold standard. So our gold standard is typically either a sales leader or another leader within our organization. If I'm using Gray Matter Phishing Analyzer, for example, maybe someone that, helps kind of create that offering for us. So we'll have someone give a probably more technical, pitch of Gray Matter Phishing Analyzer. And then the next module that they'll get is another video. And that one is going to be a peer pitch, because it really helps our sellers to understand not only how the leaders in the organization are pitching something, but also hearing it from another peer who's also in the field selling. So they hear from a peer, the peer gives their pitch, and then the very last module is their opportunity to pitch.
Yeah.
So within that, that's where we use, the scorecard, and then that's where we layer in AI.
And then how does it work, right? How does the AI know to, what feedback to give?
So we create our scorecard and then mimic that within AI. So when our seller gives the pitch, so I know you're going to give a demo, but for example, when the video comes up on their screen, we tell AI, hey, we want you to listen for the words Gray Matter Phishing Analyzer, tool, the tools that maybe that would fall into that offering. So we give it different words for it to listen to. And then we also tell it in the AI criteria function within SalesHood. We tell it exactly what they're about to hear. So we say, you're about to hear a seller deliver a pitch about gray matter phishing analyzer. The seller should be able to communicate what gray matter phishing analyzer is, the value of it to our customers, and then they should end on an open-ended question. And by giving them that, by giving AI that, it allows AI to know exactly what to look for, and it helps to improve like the real scoring to what the sellers are pitching.
Wow. And how hard was it for you to create that generative AI, AI coach module for your teams? How hard is it? Does it require a lot of code?
Oh, easy. No, it does not require any code. Despite me being in a cybersecurity company,
Yeah.
I'm not understanding all the code. So easy. I mean, it's as simple as what you would give from a manager perspective. So if you were to give a manager a scorecard and have them, explain to them, what they should be hearing from the pitch, it's the exact same thing. So you're basically coaching AI to really be, a manager of sorts, and it allows it to be that, supplemental and consistent feedback for the sellers. It takes, just for that portion, 5 minutes.
To set up.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
speed to feedback, I'm hearing you say, and I'm hearing, how often are you doing these audible ready, initiatives with your sales, with your revenue team? How often do you do them?
Sure. So we release them every other Monday, and then they're due the following Friday. So it gives them a full almost 2 business weeks to complete them. But we also have layered that into our ramp program. So as our sellers ramp throughout their first 30, 60, 90 days at ReliaQuest, they're also seeing some of those previous Audible Ready huddles that we've released, and they're able to take those, and that way they can kind of catch up on things that we may have already released.
Yep. Wow. And so you heard from one of your managers at your conference this week that ramp time is shortening. What are some other benefits, and what else are you hearing from the field?
Yeah, they just have a deeper understanding of our products and offerings because they're able to get reps in. Reps are what, drive our sellers. It's what makes them good sellers. It's what makes good sellers great. So by allowing them almost like the practice field to be able to sit there, deliver a pitch and be like, you know what, that wasn't my best. Get the AI coaching feedback and then re-deliver it again and do it until they feel super comfortable. We give them the area to kind of like play and get a deeper understanding of our product and offering.
That's great. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Congratulations. And
Thank
really, we're really making a big impact on helping organizations improve sales productivity by shortening ramp time, shortening time to become conversation ready on some of these really important messages. It's great. It's great. I'm so grateful that you're both here. Matt, before we go to you, I think, to see it is to believe it, right? Show me, don't tell me. And listen, we have a security company, data company here, so we made a decision that we're not going to show their system. So we want to show a demo, but we're going to show kind of our system. And so Matt and Alyssa, do you think we should do a demo now? What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
I'm logged into SalesHood. So there are some questions around, what kind of AI and how does it work? We're just going to walk you through it. And so listen, I'm logged into SalesHood right now, and this is what my salespeople see, what our success people see. We just rolled out new messaging at our kickoff: faster, easier, and better revenue enablement. We got a whole bunch of great G2 awards. And this is leveraging kind of our Pages technology. So you can see there's a landing page. Like Alyssa, you have Pages too. You want to describe how you use Pages?
Sure. So I actually come from an e-commerce background. So Pages to me, it's almost like a shopping page. So I utilize the page for Audible Ready, similar to how you have it set up. And then within it, I, post links to or embed all of our huddles onto that one page, because for sellers, they're doing a million different things, 1,000,000 miles a minute. They can come to this one page and see, okay, have I done the huddle? It has that green check box. They're at 100%. They're able to, see that. And it's just easy to see what I need to do, what is still missing, what have I accomplished.
It's great. It's great. And you can see here, companies can create many pages. We've got pages by role. We've got medic pages. We have a seismic battle card page, as you'd expect. And so beautiful. So I think one of the things that's important to me is making sure that everyone's on message. So, the fact that both of you are really leaning into, audible ready, conversational ready, improving conversation competence is music to my ears, right? We want to make sure that what we say on the website equals, what our salespeople are saying before meetings, after meetings, in emails, in proposals. It needs to be like alignment is the secret here. And what better way to get alignment than have people practice? Show me, don't tell me. So what we've got here is an AI module that you're able to embed in pages. And for those of you that are SalesHood customers, we recently released this pitch practice AI embedded in pages, which is great. So you don't necessarily have to go to a learning path. You don't have to go to a training module. You can just have it embedded here on these landing pages as well. But check this out. So I'm a salesperson and I've just watched the messaging, I've watched the video, and then boom, I want to practice. And so there's some key phrases to do here. There was some instructions, and I can view the scorecard, which is great. And so I'm going to practice. How's that sound? We ready to do it?
Do it.
And so listen, I love doing live demos. And so this is going to be a 30-second plus walkthrough, and let's see it. So it's just going to do a countdown, and oh, thanks so much for asking the question. What makes SalesHood unique, right? So SalesHood is a revenue enablement platform. We guide sellers what to do and what to share and what to say. We're simpler, we're faster, we're easier to use. And, Gen AI is making everything be 100x better, right? We have an LMS, we have a CMS, and, our customers love using SalesHood. It's so easy to use. One of our customers right here on the call with us right now, John from Copado, is able to realize amazing time to value, time to benefits, improvements in all the productivity metrics. Well, how does that sound? And how does that compare to how your system looks today? So I'm going to finish the recording, right? So, okay, listen, this is live. This is real time. Well, let's see what AI says.
Let's see what score you got. Let's see how high it is.
Okay. So like there were restricted words and there were keywords, just like you said, right? And so I did use some restricted words to show the redness there. So I got 7.9 out of 10. My duration was good. My pace was try to speak slower to reach the ideal pace. What'd you guys think? Did I speak a little too fast?
You were excited. It was a little fast. You were
A
excited.
little
A lot
fast.
of energy.
A lot of energy. Tone is positive. So I got positive tone. And so I got dinged. We don't like talking about LMS and CMS. We're a revenue enable. So we try and guide our sellers to focus in and talk about specific. So this is where it gets really interesting, like the qualitative feedback. There are some instances of, okay, what you did well, addressing the question directly. You affected, oh, by the way, the scenario is someone on a call asks you, how do you compare to the competition, right? Revenue enablement right now is intensely competitive and everybody is looking for ways to find faster, simpler, easier. So this is kind of a big part of what we're doing. You effectively address the question about what makes SalesHood unique compared. So good, I did well there. I use a customer example. John, thanks for letting me share your story. You effectively showcased a real world example and you closed with an open-ended question. How does that sound? And how does that compare to how your system looks today? That encourages further. So boom, boom, boom. Just like you had that same best practice, right?
Absolutely.
Anything to add on that, on those did well, Matt and Alyssa?
No, I just can't believe you walked that tightrope live here. That was awesome.
And what can you improve? Clarity and fluency, right? There are some instances of hesitation and repetition in your speech. For example, okay, I said that a few times. And then enunciation, and you pay attention to your enunciation. So I talked fast, there's no question. And then while your response effectively addresses the question, it could benefit from a more structured and organized approach. Consider organizing your points in a more cohesive manner. So I did it real time, right? So I didn't do bad. I didn't do too badly. And
What's so funny, Eli, as you show that is like, I see the 7.9. So many of our sellers are doing more reps because they want the above the 9.0 score. So Absolutely. They will say like, I have submitted this, 3 times, 5 times, whatever they need to do. they want to like, we've like gamified it essentially, but they want to get to that like 9.0 and higher score. So it helps to increase reps there for sure.
No, it's I can look in the transcript. It's pretty
Yep.
cool. There's a lot here, right? And I'm gonna close that. And now if I wanted to do it again, boom, I could do it again, right? And then just like you said, Alyssa, what are you observing, Matt? And then we're gonna move into your story. What are you observing as people are getting feedback using the SalesHood AI coach?
Yeah, I mean they're loving the kind of immediate feedback, like you said. Like if you do it live, especially, it gives you that immediate feedback. Where, as like I have a backlog of videos I have to review, and so this is like immediately they submit it and they get immediate feedback, and it's pretty strong as you can see it. It gives you and I'm noticing that I keep saying because I saw it in your pitch
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
analysis there. So yeah, I think the big thing is it's immediate feedback, so they get immediate value out of it. And then later you go in and like a human scores it, a manager, one of us coaches will score it, and they kind of they get reinforcement. But the other thing I want to mention is that what I'm seeing is they're looking at each other's pitches too,
yeah,
which is great. So you're getting this peer-to-peer collaborative stuff that just, and to Alyssa's point, it used to be that they would upload an average of like 7 times. I mean, even if they do it 2 or 3 times, they're getting all these practices in, which is the whole point. Get the skills training in, do the practices before you're in front of the customer. You get in front of the customer, and you're even that much more comfortable. You can
yeah.
pivot much more easily. Yeah.
No, it's great, and do it more often, and make them shorter, right? And by the way, look where we are, right? We're not in a training module. We're on a marketing page where they've rolled out the new positioning guide. They've got a pitch walkthrough. They've got the new slides, and so I'm inserting this AI coach in the workflow of a rep where they're looking for marketing documentation, which is important to ensure that it gets them. I want to show one more thing before we get to you, Matt, because you've got some amazing. I want you to share your story as well, because I think there's a lot to share for everyone. I'm going to edit this, right? So we're a little more demo, because the question of how do you set this up? And so if I edit this page and I go into the pitch practice, so this is where the administration lives, right? So Alyssa or Matt, you want to maybe share a couple words about how easy this is to set up. Um, Here are the key phrases, right? And so if I wanted to change, I could just add a new phrase. Here are the restricted phrases. So I'm not doing any code. Here's my target duration. And then this is where it gets really interesting. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I can't, come on. Oh, there it is. And so pace and tone, you can include or exclude pace and tone. And this is where you write a story. You do a scenario. Right. So tell me how powerful, and I've only used 396 of the 2,500 characters. Imagine you're meeting with a sales leader, a revenue ops leader, an enablement leader, and they ask a question. What's the difference between sales and the competition? Be conversational, close with an open-ended question. This is your musical sandbox. Right,
Yeah,
Matt?
it's been
Yeah.
so it's been so helpful to have this. And I would say even for the key phrases too, we try to limit ours to like 1 to 5 or 3 to 5, I would say, just to allow them to play within their own pitch and, create what that customized pitch looks like for them. But at least if they see that, they can kind of formulate their pitch. They understand like some keywords that they need to hit when they're talking about an offering, and then they can formulate the pitch
Yeah.
around it.
By the way, your point's a great one. Like, I found myself racing to try and get all the words in. where I think I need to reduce the number of key phrases. Thanks for educating me on that, because like less. No, seriously, it's a great tip. We're here to share tips and best practices. Like keep people focused, right, on the most important salient words. Beautiful.
Yeah, and the other piece of feedback there on the speed, it's funny, like especially across different, and we were talking about it before this, Alyssa, like you were talking about different accents and things like that. We'll come across different
Yeah.
paces, but like the Northeast region, I was talking to the Northeast RSM this morning, and he said, for New Yorkers and New Jersey folks, it's not fair to call that fast. That's just how we talk.
Right. So you gotta temper that in. I appreciate everyone letting us show it to you in action, and Alyssa and Matt, I appreciate you adding some commentary on the demo. And I think Alyssa, great story. So I'm just going to take a moment and just congratulate you and your team. You guys are doing great things in the industry. Your productivity numbers are amazing. Everything about ReliaQuest right now is like rocket ship status. So congratulations to you and the team. So I just want to kind of applaud you. And before we go to Matt, any other benefits that we didn't cover that you've realized over at ReliaQuest from all this?
One thing that I would say, and my team and I were talking about this before I came on, is it kind of an unintended, we always talk about like unintended consequences, but what are unintended benefits? And an unintended benefit for us is when people are promoted as new managers. AI really gives them, especially when you can see the feedback that it does, it gives them a baseline for feedback. So they're able to look at the feedback that they get. And then instead of when they go to grade the pitch, instead of copying and saying the exact same thing, they can say, I really agreed with AI on X, Y, and Z. Here's a few other pieces that I would think about as you go to your prospect meeting on Thursday. It really allows them to take that, understand the feedback, and then supplement it with their own thoughts.
Yeah, it's true. It makes managers better managers. It also reduces the coaching friction. Like, hey, let's talk about the AI feedback.
Yes, there's no bias.
Right? It's right there, right? It's beautiful.
It's consistent.
It's consistent. It's consistent. And thank you very much, Alyssa. And so let's move from Audible ready, conversation ready. And I know, Matt, you've got some great stories as well and some other benefits. You want to tell us a little bit about how you're leaning into Gen AI over at Alation?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. So like I was thinking of Gen AI just from more broadly. So like my picture on the slide and the stuff you've been using on LinkedIn, that's a Gen AI generated picture, right? From Lenza. The some of the thumbnails that I use ChatGPT to generate the graphics for the thumbnails in SalesHood. And I just used ChatGPT the other day to generate code. We were just basically cutting and pasting from a Google Sheet to a set of slides to generate the creation for each row. It would create a slide from the Google Sheet, and it would have taken me hours as a coder to write this because
Wow.
and it basically just like in 5 minutes generated the code. So AI is incredible, right? We have to just harness it as a way to make us more augmented, more productive. It's because it's getting smarter all the time, right? So, I mean, the way that I'm using it at Alation, we've used it in 3 ways so far in the last few months. The first way is that I lead a team of associate sales engineers, and basically we're using it to help them up their demonstration skills. So upload a PowerPoint talking about Azure Data Factory or some database. And here's the parameters that we're going to evaluate you on: energy, tone, all this stuff. And so the AI stuff just gives them immediate feedback, and then I go in and augment it later with the scoring. So that's like the first one. The next one is basically certifying their ability to deliver specific demos that we have, right? And you can imagine that one's a little more complex, and it's a little more subtle. And I'm pushing, a big takeaway here is like I've seen classes on writing prompts for ChatGPT and things like that.
Yeah.
It really is, the magic is in the prompt. Like there's so much subtlety in the way that you structure the prompt. So you really have to just continuously, this is kind of goes back to the TED Talk, I guess, and just the sandbox idea. You have to continuously just try stuff. You don't know what's going to work. Sometimes, one time I went too verbose and the feedback got worse. And then I went back down and just said simply like, give me a percentage score of these 4 elements. And it all of a sudden started giving me scores percentage wise.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Like, the output you get for the input you give it's always surprising. So those are the 2 basic ones that I'm using. And then the one we're using more recently, the third one, is basically, and I'm using basically as a fill word, I'm noticing all these things because of that pitch you just did. So we have a new company narrative. We call it the wiggle, the what good looks like video. Alyssa, I forget what you called it, but like,
I like that. We do gold standard.
Gold standard. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone has that. You just want to see a leader just demonstrating and a peer demonstrating it to show, we can do this. But it's a new company narrative and a new first pitch. And we just want to make sure this is kind of a board-driven OKR. We want to make sure that everybody's pitching consistently and knows this stuff. And so we can kind of reach out from that strategic level down to a tactical level. I have to create this SalesHood huddle and module to do this. And so it's really helping them, I think, to get more feedback around, the immediate feedback from the AI, and then their manager or my scoring it later, and then seeing each other's pitches as well. So those are kind of my three big use cases, the way that we're using it right now.
It's great. You shared something that it's by the way, the magic is in the prompt, right? I do imagine as we think about as we think about enablement and RevOps and, the go-to-market teams, AI prompt engineering is a thing, right? And we're going to all need to, you guys are leading the way and you'll be teaching master classes on it. I promise, I could tell. Matt, you said something interesting. I just want to kind of just go a little deeper on. You said when you were setting them up, you were getting feedback. Right. So just explain that. You're using the AI coach to develop better prompts, right? You want to talk about that process of creative process there a little bit?
Yeah. So basically you upload the way that I do it, and I may be doing it wrong because I've never done it the way you've done it with the pages, which I thought was really cool. So I've been uploading. Basically, we had somebody at kickoff deliver the pitch. So I use that as the standard wiggle pitch. And then I would just use that as the way to test the prompt. So I'd upload what I know what good looks like, upload that video, try different prompts. I use we say, hey, here's the scoring parameters, like, basic, 101 presentation skills, pace, energy, confidence, alignment with messaging. Then did you ask discovery questions, that kind of thing. So I think everyone's doing similar things, right? They want to make sure that they're covering all the bases, and then tweak it. Is this useful feedback? And what's great about it, like the way I have it now, when I shorten it a little bit, but basically it says, you asked effective discovery questions, and here's where you did it in 3 minutes and 45 seconds in, you said this statement. So I think it's just, I don't know, it makes them feel like not judged from what I saw in the chat, but also immediate feedback on how they're doing. And it's pretty useful, I think. Like, I think, but the feedback I've got also is that you still need a human to go through and corroborate. It's not a silver bullet for everything. Sometimes it does. There are some, like it does make some, like, for example, someone did extra, and so it gave them bonus points. So it gave them like 120% out of 100, kind of thing.
Yeah. I love it.
But then I was like, well, that's not far what I would do if I was, when I was, I used to teach at UNCW. And I would give bonus points, and that's how I would score them. They get 102 on that test. So it's really interesting the way it comes back. You just have to mess with it, upload the video, try the prompt, look at the results, look at the score. I ended up, for example, taking out some of the keywords that I didn't want them because I thought it impacted the score too much. So I didn't want them to kind of feel like they got a 6.5 when they really crushed it. But they mentioned 2 words maybe we didn't want them to mention, but they mentioned a lot of words we wanted them to mention. So you just have to mess with it and structure it. And like I said, the Northeast guys would maybe argue with the too fast, too slow, just right, speed, for example. So maybe in the future, maybe we'll think about taking that out, that kind of thing. So.
Totally. It's great. And Alyssa, question for you in the spirit of like AI prompt engineering and AI prompt design, like what have you observed, with yourself doing it that you can share?
So we actually created a kind of like Friends of Revenue Enablement group that we can kind of tap on. Not kind of, that's my filler word, Matt. We created a group called Friends of Revenue Enablement that we can tap on, and it allows us to test the huddles before they go. That's how we started this. So when we started, we were testing it on sellers who are more seasoned. They're able to give their pitch back, and we were able to understand, okay, these key phrases are working, these prompts are working, without, releasing it to all the sellers and all of go-to-market first. So really taking it back and being able to test it with others has been huge. And having that group of a mixture of AEs, CSMs, and SEs, leaders within go-to-market sales, and then us, the revenue enablement team, by having all of those inputs, it really helps us to best tailor the pitch and tailor the approach to it before we release it to the wider audience.
Friends of Revenue Enablement. I love it. Smart. Genius. It's great. It's great. Super, super smart. Matt, I'm going to go back to you for a second. So, when we spoke, you talked about kind of your partnership with other teams, other
Mm.
stakeholders, marketing. Would love to hear, how do you integrate them with your creative process of creating these AI driven assessments?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a great prompt. So when I was going through the cycle of the prompt, it was kind of the ask questions connected to customer value. That's kind of standard, right? But then it's like the messaging piece is like, what's the main points of the messaging that we want to get across?
Right.
And that's where you can get a little crazy. My recommendation there would be go as simple as possible first. But what I did is I just vetted it with like the product marketing team because we're all in this working on this stuff together. They built out the deck, and one of them delivered it before the sales rep delivered the wiggle video. They delivered before that and gave the context of how it would be used and why we're doing it this way and that kind of stuff, all that context. So they basically tweaked the prompt a little bit and said, hey, can we add these other main points, like connected, I think it was like business outcomes and things like that. So I just thought that was interesting because I was like, they don't know anything about sales, so they don't know what I'm building here, and I run it through with them beforehand to make sure it's a good user experience. But they were able to give feedback on these are the main points I wanted to, the VP product market is the owner of that messaging, and he wanted to make sure these main points were getting across and being covered. So we were able to incorporate that into the prompt a little bit.
No, it's great. A lot of the times marketing, corporate marketing, brand marketing, product marketing, they kind of drop a deck over and say, all right, go, it's your job, Matt and Alyssa, go certify everyone. And now you can kind of have more of a conversation and dialogue and get them to engage in the process because it's integrated, right? The prompts need to be a direct extension of the key messages and differentiators and whatever you're trying to get people conversationally ready on. So it's great. Trying to
Yeah.
think, Matt, what else did we want to cover with your story? I'm trying to remember. Those are the main points, right? I think
Yeah, we covered a lot. Yeah, I mean the demo. Anyway, yeah, I thought that
we
demo was fantastic because when we talked about this before, it wasn't we didn't use a demo, but I think that really drove the point home and showed the
totally.
quick response of the tool. I mean, it's really incredible.
So perfect. So thank you for sharing your story and sharing your insights. And it's great. Like it's great to see you leaning into the sales engineering and the technical side. It's your background, and it's also huge value if you can get the SEs to be more conversation ready and really understand. It's huge value. What are you hearing from them? Are they anything specific so far that you've heard? Any details? Any improvements? What have you heard from them?
Yeah, I heard one of them was just gonna, like, to Alyssa's point, they keep trying till they got the 10.0. I think, so so they're just giving a little harnessing the competitiveness of the account executive is great. One of them said genuinely the team loves the real-time AI feedback, and so do I. Great feature. So just some
Good.
feedback from the RSMs
Yeah.
in the US. Yeah.
Well, listen, both of you and both of your companies are doing extremely well. This is a tough economy. This is a tough market. This is a tough world. Selling is hard right now, and engaging buyers how they want to buy is super hard. And so kudos, right? You got to find that edge and that competitive edge, and using an AI coach and Gen AI to help go faster and get people to be conversationally ready faster. That speed to feedback. It's proving to work for both of you. So kudos, really kudos. Um, what I like to do is before we wind down, I think we've got a lot of enablement folks listening and they love watching our webinars later. How do you think the enablement profession is changing or has changed or will change with kind of Gen AI? Like what are the things that are going to be different in our jobs now that we've got Gen AI as a resource? Either one of you, whoever wants to go first.
I can go first.
Yeah.
I think for us, what I've seen is, just internally, revenue enablement is starting to span to more and more teams. So now, we think about the one-to-many approach that I think, Eli, you mentioned earlier. Now we're not only able to, support like our AEs, SEs, customer success, but we can start to, support marketing, we can support implementations, we can support other arms of the business and really extend our reach internally. And we're able to do that through AI and through generative AI specifically. And it really gives us the ability to give our sellers that immediate feedback before their manager even gets to grading their pitch. So they're getting both. I think it's completely like supplemental, and then they get the manager feedback at the end. But for us, I really see it as being able to do more and support more organization or more arms of our organization.
No, it's great. And listen, consistent with where and how the market is evolving, Forrester, they just released their revenue enablement, market guide and report. It's revenue enablement is covering all roles now. And so, and that's a fact. And Gen AI helps make it happen. And it helps empower small but mighty teams to actually get everyone enabled. Matt, what do you think? What's changing in the role? What's changing in our industry?
Gosh, I mean, so it's funny, like all the software as a service solutions, all the cloud solutions out there, we're all putting in these AI capabilities. Like, so our data catalog, Alation's data catalog, we're going to have suggested descriptions, suggested stewards, and the whole name of the game is how do we make data users, data analysts, data engineering, business users using data, how do we make them more productive? It's the same thing here, right? It's like you just want the people that are using your solution, just help them get their job done faster. Like, so we get in there and we're doing kind of the same things over and over, right? There's going to be some kind of certification. There's going to be some kind of demo certification. There's going to be some kind of deck you have to read, some kind of quiz you have to take. And so to the point that we can get things like AI making us do more with less, and when I was at SaaS, we were talking a lot about this years ago, like, a while ago, and it's got to be a future where it's augmentation, right? Where you're able to do things better and faster because you're leveraging it. And if you're not leveraging it, then other folks are going to leverage it and in other companies or other teams, and they're just going to be faster and better than you are. So you have to use it. It's just kind of a little bit of an arms race, but you have to leverage it to do things, faster, and we're always getting more and more pressure to do more things. So that's kind of the way I see it. And the other takeaway, again, the sandbox mentality, like the fail fast mentality, was it fire, aim, fire, aim, fire, aim, right? So you have to keep trying and taking swings, and then just iterate quickly and get feedback and iterate quickly and make it better. But don't be afraid to just take a big swing at first. It's pretty easy to just get your feet wet there. For this one, I was like, oh, geez, I've got to use it. I want to use AI, but I haven't experimented with it yet. And I was like, this is big. It's going to go out to, 50, 60 people. My other company would have been hundreds of people, maybe 1,000 people. So you just take swings with small crowds. I love the FRO idea, the Friends of Revenue Enablement.
Fro,
I don't know
yes.
if does that.
I'm gonna call it FRO. I like that.
That's free, actually, right? Yeah.
It's free or fray.
Yeah. We'll figure out a way to make it FRO, but yeah, I mean, anyway, so that's the big things. Fail fast, iterate, don't be afraid to take risks, and use it as a way to make you more productive. That'll be my feedback.
It's great. And it could be fro if you do revenue operations and enablement, right?
There you go.
That's what you're thinking.
We could forecast the consolidation that's going to continue to happen in our
Or
world.
fire or something like that. We could make it.
I love it. Listen, before we wind down with your parting words, I just want to let everyone know that's listening. For those of you that are customers and are leaning into AI and generative AI with SalesHood, thank you, and keep sharing your stories. For those of you that are interested in running your own AI coach and realizing these same benefits with your teams, listen, SalesHood is we're a revenue enablement platform. We love nothing more than to show you a way where you can have AI that's simpler, faster, and 100x better than your current how you're doing it today. And listen, we're all about guiding sellers on what to do and what to share and what to say with a little help from AI. And so please, we love nothing more. So if you're interested in a trial and you want to run AI coach, just there's a link down below, and we'll make sure that you can do that. So we welcome you to bring the benefits of AI to your teams. And so that's my short little pitch that I'm now done with. And I do. So before we say goodbye, I think there are a lot of people out there that that aren't as far along as you are. And so I'm just curious, what advice would you give someone who is like, I don't know, should I do this AI thing, this Gen AI? It's a fad. Like, what advice would you give someone?
I would say you can test it like we did. We tested huddles first. We used our friends of revenue enablement, find others who you could, tap on. You could say, hey, I'm trying this thing out. Do you mind testing it for me? It may not go great the first time, it may not go great the second time. And you're really just going to have to figure out what works for you, what works for your organization, how many keywords make sense, what tone makes sense. Like we're saying for the Northeast folks, maybe they want to chat a little faster. Figuring out those little nuances, it's going to take a little bit of time and effort. But like I mentioned earlier, I mean, it takes me, especially now that I've done it a few times, less than 5 minutes to, create those prompts. I keep it consistent every single time. So it is less work on myself and my team. So we're able to just continue to replicate throughout.
Great advice, Alyssa, and you're a rock star. This is your first webinar, panel webinar. We're so excited. You did great, by the way. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Matt, tell us, what advice would you give to someone who is, trying to figure out if they actually lean into Gen AI right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I just said, right? It's basically just try stuff. Like that's my motto is just try stuff. Do these little, POC environment, proof of concept environments. Could be just your team. Product marketing was helping us kind of like debug it and take a look through it. Or like you said, you get a small, advisory board of sellers. Uh, they're fantastic to give that kind of feedback if they have the time. They're so busy.
Totally.
So it's basically fail fast, that iteration thing, taking swings, and just I think we have no choice but to leverage it because
Yeah.
it helps us become more productive.
No, it's true. And John, who's also a pioneer in generative AI, is saying test it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Just try one,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
do a pitch just like I did and try it out and play around with the keywords and then invite someone in. I love it. Invite one of your friends from from friends of the operation, friends of revenue enablement.
Yeah.
But I think the overriding message is this is not a fad. Like Gen AI is here. It's here to stay. It's transforming how we do business. It's transforming how we're connecting with business folks, how we're selling. It's changing everything. Like it's already changed everything. And the faster that you lean into it and start using it is the faster you're gonna be able to realize the benefits, just like Alyssa and Matt are and their teams. So
Yeah.
I
And one
think
more point here I just want to make is just Alyssa and I talking about this beforehand, like I learned so much just in, I don't know, 15 minutes of talking with you about just sharing, because we're in these little silos sometimes in our organizations. We're not sharing as much because obviously some of the stuff we're doing is pretty, proprietary and such, but the concepts and the ways we're doing it are pretty common and similar across organizations. And so like it's just a wake up call for me to reach out, and I want to talk with Alyssa after this and just kind of see how she's doing things, and because it was just fascinating learning how she was doing some of the stuff she was doing. So that's just
Yeah,
another.
we went way over on that call because we were just talking about, I was like, wait, you do that? Okay. I'm like taking notes. I'm like, okay, product
Yeah,
marketing, why didn't I bring them in sooner? And then, I'm taking notes on that. So I
yeah,
agree. It's just, knowledge sharing, we're not sharing anything company wise, but just the knowledge sharing of how we do things is so helpful. And it's just, community building.
yeah,
absolutely. AI prompt engineering is the future and is a future skill. I love it. I've got a lot of comments in the chat on that one. I think it's a really good point that you just brought up, Matt and Alyssa. I think, these are hard times and these are changing times and the world is evolving so quickly and Gen AI is like we're 100x speed with everything. Just think of where we were a year ago. And so, our mission at our company is to empower salespeople to sell better. And we do it with our revenue enablement platform. We love bringing people together. And this is why we do this. And this is why we invited you two to come together. And it's a great reminder, right? It's everyone is learning. We're learning together. And one of the things that we do really well and are recognized by our customers is our community. And so if anyone, there's so many ways to connect with us at SalesHood. We've got a community, we've got our platform, but please raise your hand, let us support you. and let's just to make sure that you know, we can continue to highlight amazing stories. And so and two amazing practitioners like we have right here. So I want to thank both of you for joining us today on the generative AI for sales, sharing your successes, sharing your stories, sharing your lessons learned, and just being so open with your experience, because you've just helped so many people kind of realize the same benefits. So kudos and thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you,
you.
everybody.
Yeah, amazing. So that's it. And we will see you on the next one, everyone. And ciao for now.